Hey everyone, how is everyone doing out there? So we're going to do a little something here with R and Rstudio. R being the statistical environment, Rstudio being the user-friendly interface. Although that depends on what you think is a user-friendly. Now, obviously, before we've put up ice cream, the data set from the files, we created this plot, etc. But what happens when you want to make your own vectors and you want to make your own argument? You want to make it just from scratch, like, well, more importantly, you'll have to do on the test. So basically, this is important. So I just copied and pasted that, right? So this is going to be the income of a student's family. This would be the independent variable. Now, there's research suggesting that income determines the LSAT scores. That is if you want to go to law school. So let's say you want to go to law school. So let's take this and I will call this. You can call it anything else. So all I did was copy and paste this. And I want to show you. So let's call this family income, right? Family income, because we have a lot of income. Anyways, like right here says income. So R sometimes gets confused by this if you write too many incomes. So we're going to call things different names. Now, look at what I did. Just like we learned before, I put the sign there to assign it that, but then you put a C, right? Combine. But it's not really combine as they call it. Listen. Concatenate. So that's a big word. That's very difficult. Let's see it again. Concatenate, which is basically creating this chain or series. So you want to essentially see, I just call it combine. That's what they call it in R and other things, but it's a C. That's all it is. And you're combining these. But notice these are just numbers, right? So let's do, that's $33,000, right? 1, 2, 3, right? So there's no comma here. So you have to put the comma only after the full entire number, or it'll confuse the program. That's why we use CSV files where you're essentially doing comma delimited. So you're differentiating these numbers by a comma. So you can't put another comma in as you would regularly. Like if you put, say, for example, $56,000, that's how we do it, but you can't do it like that. So in R, you'd have to go 56 with a comma there. So that's one unit. And notice, like in the other things, like when we built the graph, you basically have parentheses, right? So that is what you're creating a code. So all this will be combined. So what we're going to do, you just hit enter, boom, and that should be it. So all you do is the 3-letter word, family income. Does it come up? Yes. So that's very good. And then on the other side, we have, and then all you got to do is copy and paste. This is kind of some practice because you'll have to do this on the quiz, is LSAT score. So let's just call it LSAT, right? Now you can use the equal sign. I don't, because you use it for other things. So I always just use this arrow pointing to what you're assigning it, and then the little thing. So that's pretty good. All we got to do is that, and then a C. And watch this. Now, why did I give this space? I want to make sure that you understand that it's not space sensitive. So let's see if it works. It is, however, sensitive to where the parentheses are, but you can make huge, like, spaces, but you need to put those in parentheses, and you need the C, and you need to assign it the name. So let's take a look. LSAT, boom. Now, these aren't many data points, so it's just for practice when we do the quizzes. So if I ask you, for example, what's the correlation between these two, it's just the COR function, right? And then family, right? Comma, and then the LSAT. And when we do correlation, you can put them wherever you want. So it's, oh, wow, 0.03. That does not look good. So it's obviously not in this case. It doesn't seem to be doing well for correlation. So then what you basically want to do is run regression. What do? All right, let's call it something. Let's see. We'll call it prediction, right? Because we're trying to predict those two. Right. And now we do the LM function. And now we do the independent variable second and the dependent variable first. So the dependent variable here, right, is the LSAT score. And then we do family income. And now we do a summary of the prediction. You can call it anything you want, right? You can call it anything you want. And there we have it. So it's not significant because it is happening without the independent variable. It has to be below 0.05. And if you look at the R squared, wow, that is awful. So you basically look at it, right? And this is my history. It's very, very bad. So here it is. You basically have family income, 33,103, 11, 70, 50, 30,000. Then you have the LSAT, 120, 190, 130, 150, 180, 124. Those are the scores. And they match completely, like, obviously, directly. So $33,000 a year will be 120, 10,000 is 190. You get the picture. So there's no real correlation there. How do we know? Well, our basic practical value on the slope is basically saying for 1 unit of family income, you're getting essentially 4.749 E. That's the scientific. Let me do the scientific thing as you remembered. Maybe depending on the class, I went over this, but that's the scientific. You just copy and paste it. Oops. Equals false. So that's 0.00004749. You're getting a unit. This is interesting. For every family income dollar, you're only getting a 0.000047 increase on average on the LSAT. So that's not very good, right? The t-value is very low. The bigger the t-value is showing that there's a bigger spread, and that in the standard deviation and mean, and that would be a lower p-value. But the t-value is very low and the p-value is very high. And notice next to the p-value, there are no stars. What does the p-value tell us? Well, that's a decent measurement. It's been come under attack in the last few years, p-hacking stuff, but we still use it a lot. Bayesians don't like it. But in a nutshell, this is saying that we are getting the amount, that is the LSAT score, without the family income, right? There is no relationship here. Because remember from the last video, or if you're in class, the 0.05, that very low amount, that's all you're seeing the relationship when the null is true. That is, there's no relationship. Null meaning 0. Here we're seeing, well, there is a, the null is true, that there's absolutely no relationship at 0.94508. The p-value has come under attack, and I can't stress this enough because a lot of people say, well, we rely on it too much, etc. But there's other ways to look at it. Look at R squared is very low, 0.001342. The highest, that is helping to explain how much your model is essentially explaining the movement of the dependent variable, and it's not. 1 is a perfect correlation, the COR. 1 would be a perfect correlation, and that is a very low correlation. Your residual standard of error, as I talked about, anything with the word error in it, you want as low as possible. That's pretty high, right? 33.41 is high with only 4 degrees of freedom. That is 6 data points minus the 2 variables, the independent and dependent variable, which equals 4. So this is what we're seeing. So in a nutshell, you could just say, well, there's no stars there, so we know it's not significant. But you have to understand, because it's not under the alpha, which is the threshold, 0.05, which would mean if it was under 0.05, we are saying that it's not attributable to random events, but the LSAT scores are increasing in this case, not decreasing, increasing with every unit of family income. However, that's not the case because the p-value is over 0.05. And that's very important to understand because the p-value is going to be used in a wide range, like Turkey on LSD test. They do it for understanding stationarity, and that is to make a time series stationary. How many differences there are. We could go on and on, but the p-value is still, when we see chi-square later, it's used a lot, even though it's come under attack. So basically, you're saying that there is no relationship between these two. Now, a good way to look at this is also through the ggplot, which you know how to use. So there is no name for this, so you don't put anything in there. There is no name for a data set because it's obviously not a data set. So ggplot aesthetics, right? X equals family, just 3 letters, and then it comes up. And then Y, the dependent variable, is the LSAT. Right? And then you've got GM points because we're doing points. We're not doing the bars yet. That's why I have a box in GM bar right there. No, we're doing GM points. And then we're doing stat smooth to put the best fitting line in there, right? So that's it. And we're doing, the method is LM. And let's do, what color of the line do we want? Okay, we'll do a big, what color line do we? I like turquoise, but I don't know how to spell it. All right. Oh, how about this? We'll do the colors here, turquoise. All right. One of the best things about all these Google things and stuff, I can just Google it to make sure I know. And look at, I got it. What do you people know? I'm a terrible speller. So we're going to do turquoise. Here we go. I copied and pasted it. Turquoise. And then we got this. What are we going to do? Let's do something. How about not yellow? That doesn't come up yet. How about not green? How about red? So as you can see, oh, what's up? The valid mapping is off. All right, let's take a look and see what we did wrong. GM points, stat smooth things. So it says X equals GM point. Mapping must be created by aesthetics. So that's what I did. So this always happens. And this is good because then you don't feel alone when these things happen. So ggplot. Is it not recognizing ggplot? Did I do ggplot? Let me get that back in there. X equals family income. Y equals, look at this. Last abort error. Last error returns last error abort. Global entrance, the error printed back trace. Last trace is a shortcut for this. So let's take a look. That was it. Darn. All right. I always do that. That's good to, man, now I'm going to have to put turquoise in again. I hope it's still here. All right, good. And then LM, and then boom, color equals. All right, see, that's good that happened because that always happens. So don't feel alone when that happens. Like people start freaking out, but like, look at what I essentially didn't put the COL equals. So look at this over here, and I'm going to make it into an interactive plot. ggplot. Remember, you can just hit up. You want plot Lee, and then you got to get rid of one of those, and then like that. All right, so this is going to be good because it's interactive. So look at this, family. It's all over the place. Visually, this is the best fitting line, and it's just straight. There's no relationship whatsoever. That's why it's like 0.94. I mean, almost a perfect one, meaning it's like no relationship whatsoever, meaning you're getting these numbers independently from the independent variable. That is the causal variable. There's no relationship whatsoever. So that's very important. So I hope you understand the p-value a little more, that anything under 0.05 is basically saying that you need the independent variable to get the movement of whatever the dependent variable is, in this case, LSAT scores. So if it's over 0.05, it could still have, as we'll see with Price and others in the ice cream data set, it'll still have maybe some movement, but it won't be quote unquote significant, where it's difficult to get 0.05. And the reason why they want it such a low level at 5% is that then it basically, according to the logic, it's taking away, random events by chance, etc., and it is attributable to the independent variable. But of course, just because there's a relationship doesn't mean there's always a causation. Because there's an old adage, when you study statistics, at least a while back, I don't know how politically correct it is, but all serial killers drank milk. So there's 100% correlation there with that. But is that a cause of serial killing? Well, probably, because milk is pretty disgusting. All those hormones in the cow and everything else. But anyways, does it cause? That's one of the keys. But it is still saying that there's a relationship and it's not attributable by chance when it's below 0.05, which is difficult to get. So the point here, though, is this is not significant because it's not under 0.05. It's basically saying you're getting these results independent from the independent variable. That might be confusing. And independent from the independent variable. And then when you actually do the ggplot, you see it here that the line is straight across. It's not going up like that, which would indicate, or going down, which would be reverse. But if it was going up, it would mean the more family income, the higher the LSAT score. Remember, this isn't the best data. There's only, 6 points. But still, you're getting the logic of statistics, right? And additionally, you're understanding kind of the p-value. What's this, multiple R squared? That's how much is our data being explained by the independent variable. It's very low, 0.0013. And then you get the residual standard error, which is really high, 33.41, which is what your data is not explaining. So you want that as low as possible. And you have a very low t-value, and that's why these things are all over the place. So I hope this kind of gives you an understanding how to combine those and make your own vector, and then basically do correlation and do a regression analysis with the LM linear model function. And take care, everyone, and thanks for coming out.